Welcome back to the grind. In this video, we are going to talk about how to fly LockJaw. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this video out, but let's get into some of the gameplay and discuss some of the methods that I used to fly LockJaw as best as I could. This base is one of the highest bases. I was able to attack 11 billion defense with 91 towers, and this is with a Harbinger tiered LockJaw. So the spell rotation starts with that free shield at the bottom. So you use it on the corner, and then you freeze all the towers so that you get 4 seconds without any shields, super shots, or damage. And then you want to always make sure to put on the shield again when available and use that blue spell to gain back your rage as much as possible, as well as throwing in that damage bonus. So let's take a look at this a little bit slower. The second cycle of that shield on the bottom costs no rage, so you can come into the island with full rage, and after 3 seconds it explodes, dealing an extra burst of damage. So this can be very useful as you enter an island to help get that little extra damage to get the first couple threatening towers down. The next step is to freeze and activate that damage bonus spell so that you can burn through the blue mage and avoid the shield effect from activating. Once the blue mage is down, you want to use that blue spell as soon as possible because that's going to be what will fund the rage required to continue your spell rotation. Then you can activate the 1 rage shield, which will give you back some health as well as protect you when the towers become unfrozen, which will give you enough time to refreeze the towers afterwards, because if you freeze while they're already frozen, it will not increase the duration of the freeze. So this is a very important thing to keep in mind with LockJaw. And then you have the free shield again to activate to protect yourself from any damage from the remaining towers, as well as give you the extra burst of damage needed. And then always prioritize that blue spell to gain back your rage, as well as heal from any towers you will be continuing to destroy. And then coming around to the last islands, you do the same rotation, but you might not have full rage. So you always want to prioritize the blue spell here, and then save your freeze for when you're coming into range of those back towers so that you can help prevent the damage that you might take from them otherwise. And then you just cycle through the free shield spell that gives you the burst damage, the freeze spell that causes the towers to take increased damage, the blue spell to gain back your rage, as well as the breath damage bonus spell. With all of that in combination, you can burn through some high-level farms and mills quite easily. Now let's review a long base, which does have high-level towers as well, level 85 towers, and it is undefended. But you can see the same spell rotation where you freeze the towers, use the breath damage bonus, use the blue spell to gain back rage, use the shields whenever they're available, and freeze the towers again once they become unfrozen. This is where having rage runes and a rider with rage regeneration would be very useful, because it can come to a very critical point where you're just shy of enough rage to use the blue spell or another freeze spell. So once again, coming around, you freeze the towers and activate the breath damage bonus spell. You allow that free shield to explode, giving you the extra damage boost. Once the blue mage is down, you use the blue spell to gain back some rage, activate the breath bonus spell again when able, and freeze again once you're in range of the back towers to lock them down as well. Now at this point, you could argue that you should wait to activate your blue spell before using the rage on the breath damage bonus, but because there's a blue mage in the back, it could have been tight. At this point, you can use the blue spell and freeze the remaining towers so that you have time without taking damage to destroy the remaining towers, as well as gain back some health. And then this you can see on the high level farms and mills. When you combine all the spells together, those towers just melt, when originally with the basic breath damage, it wasn't even doing a dent. Now that we've got the basic spell rotation down, let's talk a little bit more about this freeze spell and how we might be able to optimize its use if we're willing to take a bit of a risk or put in the practice. The safest way to chain on freezes is to use your shield here before they become unfrozen, and then you'll have reduced damage, and then you can freeze them again right after. So you don't risk freezing too early and losing the second freeze effect duration. Let's take a look at what I mean by losing the second freeze effect. When you come around the corner and freeze the first towers, the freeze effect has to completely end before they can be frozen again. I froze before they were reactivated and before the initial freeze effect completed, so I never renewed the freeze duration. So the towers activated right away, even though I just used another freeze spell. So now I'm stuck taking damage from all these remaining towers without a way to freeze them again because I just used all the rage to freeze them initially but lost the freeze effect until I was able to use the blue spell again to regain some rage back. But if you're willing to take the risk, or if you put in the practice to get this down, you can actually freeze the towers immediately after they're reactivated and chain on the freeze. So after the initial freeze, you can see here they become activated, fire their shots, but I freeze them before the attacks hit me, and I clear the entire base without taking any damage. Now let's look at it again with this base with level 82 towers, and I'll slow it down as well so we can see how the timing really works. I'm not sure if there's a great way to time it perfectly without just getting used to it, but this is the first freeze and it will be frozen for 4 seconds, and you have to be very quick to freeze again as soon as the freeze effect ends, but before you get hit by the damage. But be careful because the shield effect will likely still go off, so you'll have to prioritize that tower. Now, something I have not been able to test out, but I hope I will get this dragon and be able to test it myself, is because the freeze duration is 4 seconds and the shield spells are on cooldown for 4 seconds after use. That means if you use the shield spell right before you freeze initially, then as soon as you're able to use a second shield spell, then if you use the freeze spell, the towers should be unfrozen at that time. It would be very tight timing, but it might be something to consider testing out to use the shield cooldown as a marker for when you need to freeze the second time. So I'm going to let some more of this gameplay play out so you can watch it and see the ways that I've flown him. But I do think LockJaw is a solid warrior, not just among warriors, but among dragons in general. I think LockJaw is a great dragon that is fun to fly, kind of skill required, and does have the potential to succeed. So I'm going to do my best to get him as my second mythic this season. I can't vouch for how LockJaw functions at max tier against max bases and defended, because unfortunately I have not been able to fly him in that capacity, and I haven't seen any gameplay at that capacity. But I have heard some very good things about it, and just seeing how many tiers up I was able to succeed at with this Emerald, or with this Harbinger tier LockJaw, attacking level 90 towers and level 85s defended. I'm pretty impressed with that, and I think that that means that at endgame he should be able to succeed fairly well as well. So let me know in the comments if you have him at endgame tier, how it's been working for you. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the rest of this footage. Let me know in the comments what you think of LockJaw, and I will see you in the next video.